Second part of News Hour. Now we sit down with one gentleman who tells me tonight that he has an innovation that will change the face of cooking in Africa. Very interesting. He was at the Climate Summit. It's just one of the products that were on display supporting the Green Initiative. Now, Rick Parrish is the founder and chairperson of Aquarius, that is, and of course Kinetic 7. Now tonight we talk about Kinetic 7. I'll be speaking to Nick shortly, but let me begin with Rick. Rick, good to see you.
You too.
And I'm glad you could make it. You know, I know how busy the week has been for you, but this blew my mind when I heard about it. Tell me briefly about Kinetic 7.
Yeah, so okay, we've been developing a product for about 5 years now. My experiences across Africa over the last 20 years in business and travel, I continue to see people using charcoal and biomass, wood, to cook their meals, which according to the UN kills 4 million people a year just in the side effects of the smoke and fumes coming from the cooking. Mm-hmm. So my idea was I wanted to try and develop something that would fix that. And so we put a team together a few years ago, and we've been developing a mobile cook stove that runs on water. Okay. And I know what you're going to say, but and so the machine, the stove, converts the water into a clean hydrogen gas. We don't store the hydrogen. We do momentarily, but straight away we're burning it. And so after years of testing and development, we've finally achieved it. And what better place to launch it than the cradle of civilization?
It's very interesting because the first thing I heard about this technology is it uses ordinary water, the one that I drink, the still water, right?
Absolutely.
Ordinary.
100%.
If I'm in the village, I can go to the river and get that water.
You can take it. You can take it out of the river, take it out of the lake. You can take it out of a puddle on the ground, providing it's not full of dirt and things. But yeah, it's designed to operate on non-potable and potable water. That's the way we designed it.
So this is water. The chemical element, I think, is H2O.
Correct.
How do you get an additional element to burn? Because that's where you produce this energy.
Yeah. So the key to all of this has been the development of our fuel cell. So with Nick and the team, we've managed to develop a fuel cell that will take water and convert it into what's called HHO. So 2 elements of hydrogen, 1 of oxygen, converts it into a gas which is immediately combustible. Okay. And that's a world first, and that's what we launched here this week at the conference. This
technology doesn't exist. I have never heard of a cooking stove powered or energized with water.
No, what you see sitting on your table here is a world first. And in fact, the first time the public has seen it has been this week at the Africa Climate Summit. So, yeah, we feel very privileged to be here and to announce it this week.
Okay. Before I conclude my questions, I'd like to see how this works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd want to start from water, and now that's why I bring Nick, right?
Yes.
So I want to see you putting water in it and it converting it to hydrogen and burning it.
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
I'll drink the water first.
Yes.
Just to make sure it's potable water.
So the point to mention is that we don't use LPG, propane, methanol. There are no hydrocarbons associated with this product. Okay, so the only thing that we need for this to operate is H2O.
H2O. Yeah. All right, let's see.
So we just pour the water at top here into this tank, and it doesn't need a lot of water. In fact, water is a perfect carrier of hydrogen, as it is primarily H2O.
Okay.
So all that we do is once it's inside the tank, it flows into our proprietary electrolysis cell that sits at the base of the stove here. I'm going to come across on this side. Okay. And actually what I'll do is I'll show you how fast it electrolyzes. This is fascinating, how quickly it creates the gas. So take a look at this. As soon as I open it, you'll see the hydrogen gas coming out. Okay. So that's the gas there. It's quite faint, but as you can see it, that's the hydrogen gas being produced immediately from
the gas
water.
Is already
it's already there.
Less than 2 seconds, the gas is being produced.
So now, as I close it, what's happening is the gas is then being rerouted to the burners here. There's 2 burners. So once I turn it off, turn it on again, there are 2 burners. I'll go ahead and
actually see bubbles of water from
that's it. That's the gas with the bubbles. And then I'm just going to go ahead and ignite this flame. And as you can see, hydrogen burns orange. So this is actually
that's it.
A very hot flame
to flame?
Roughly 1600 degrees, but we had to make the flames quite small in order to make very efficient cooking. So this is one of the most...
really hot. I could actually feel the heat.
Yeah, already, even sitting there, right?
So how long can a bottle of water last? How many? You know, in Kenya, the favorite delicacy is githeri.
Yeah.
It's boiled here for probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
How much water would I need to boil food for 2 hours?
Fantastic question. I'll just go ahead and turn it off so you could hear that. But very simple, that's how it works. And with this technology, what's most fascinating about it is how little water it uses. Yeah, this tank holds 2 liters of water. From our calculations, we've been able to cook for 5 days on 2 liters of water. 5 days.
So
5 days on 2 liters.
A teaspoon of water in our machine, in our stove, will cook the average family meal for 6 people.
Oh, great, great. I guess now that this is out of the way, the next question is now to Rick. Nick, you can have your say. The next question to you is, has this gone to production?
No, it's about to. So what we decided to
commercial production, that is.
No, we're before the end of the year we'll be in commercial production. So we wanted to get an idea of because as I said, this is the first time we've shown it to the public in an African country, and what better way to do it than showing it in Kenya at this conference? And it's been amazing. We've literally been overwhelmed. I mean, we've had probably a couple of thousand people stop by our stand and see demos and talk about it. So full-scale production will be before the end of the year.
Okay.
And we're doing it here in Kenya.
Oh, you're doing the production here?
Yeah. So there's a trade secret with all of this, like there is with all these sorts of gadgets and technologies. But so the fuel cell will always be built in our facility in Abu Dhabi. But everything else that you see here will be manufactured in Kenya. We'll train Kenyans. We'll have a facility here. So it'll be sold and marketed as a Kenyan product across East Africa. Why
did you choose Kenya for this? Is it because of the inaugural summit?
You may have heard of a guy called William Ruto. So
that's the president.
We met with His Excellency. He was in fact, it's a long story, but he called me a magician. He didn't believe that this would work. And he said, look, come back in a couple of weeks and prove to me that this works. So that's exactly what we did in his office at State House. We did a demonstration. We cooked him some eggs, boiled some water, and literally he said, okay, you can take your magician's hat off now.
I was hoping he would ask you to roast some maize for
Yes, next time.
So yeah, we thought, well, what a great place. And he's pledged all sorts of support for us, for Kenyans and for Kenya. And he's a great champion of what we're doing.
I know you haven't gone to commercial production, so you can't quantify how much this will cost. But as a Kenyan and someone who wants to save water, as someone who really wants to save some money, how much do you think averagely? I'm not asking you for the exact price. Averagely, how much will this cost a household in Kenya?
I think it'll be under $250 for the stove.
25,000.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're working with some NGOs and some funding agencies who have already, from the last 3 days of meeting them at the conference, already pledged us with financing opportunities where we'll be able to provide subsidies, payment plans, even gift stoves to communities. So, and the one thing I should point out is this is the market entry product. This is the one we developed just as what we call in-house, we call it our humanitarian project, because this brings energy to everyone, everywhere, right? So it doesn't matter where you are, not just in Kenya, but globally, you can be anywhere and be able to cook a meal.
Oh yeah, I can travel with it at the boot of my car.
Yeah, so but the other thing is that we have the same technology using the same fuel cell, but we can do affordable housing. We'll be able to do the hot water, the shower, the oven, the cooktop.
You're taking it
using
to that
this
level.
And absolutely. This is our master plan is to change the world, and you know we're going to start here in, as I said before, in the cradle of civilization here in Kenya.
Okay, there must be a downside, and that one I'll ask you. What is the downside? I mean, it can't be all good and glorious. What is the downside?
It's a good question. What's fantastic about this, what you're actually doing is it's an in situ local producer of green hydrogen. That's what this thing does. We charge this, the small battery there with a solar panel that allows you to basically take any water that you could find that's even non-potable, convert it to green hydrogen. So doing that in a single device is just absolutely fascinating. The downside would probably be a cost, as Rick mentioned, when we looked at all the different opportunities there, but we've seen that this is far cheaper than LPG. You're talking, $200 a year just for an LPG cylinders. So for us, we're thinking, how do we how can we get more adoption of something like this?
Okay.
And for us, that's what we think is the biggest opportunity.
All right. So finally, how does this tie into the theme of this conference in Africa?
Well, I think the whole thing's about reducing carbon, reducing CO2 emissions. This stove, launched here this week, has zero CO2 emissions, zero emissions across the board. And in fact, the only real emission or byproduct from time to time is a little bit of water vapour on the cooking implements. So other than that, this is the answer to reducing carbon across the board globally.
Okay.
And as you know, there's a whole global push through the UN for clean cooking initiatives, and this is the answer.
The answer. In 30 seconds, my director is on my ear. In 30 seconds, you're going to take a lot of people out of business. Are you ready for that fight?
Well, I don't think we're going to take them out of business. I think what we'll do is, and we've had this discussion internally, 30 seconds, right? Yeah. So what we're going to do is partner with those companies, because as you can imagine, we're going to be setting this up in every country in the world, right? Starting here in Kenya. So partnering with organisations that are already selling hydrocarbon-based product. We're going to need call centres, engineers, support, maintenance, all these sorts of things. So we're going to partner with them rather than put them out of business. So that's our plan.
Rick and Nick, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And all the best. I'm looking forward to the launch.
Thanks, Ken.
Please let us know as Standard Group and KTN. See when you launch.
Appreciate
all right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Private sector's commitment towards climate action. Details from the business desk after this break.